Welcome back. Now, as we said in a previous video, the easiest way to organize your animated video is to do one scene at a time and to do it based on how you read the script. So for example, I'm just going to page through the script and you're going to see the slides change. And so each one of these slides were narrated so that there is a pause between each one of these slides. So the best thing to do would be to design a scene for each slide. So we'll design a scene for this slide. Then we'll design a scene for this slide that starts with "that means." Then we'll design a scene for this slide that starts with "blindly following trends." And then we'll do that for the entire video. So let's take a look at our video software. Now you'll notice that this scene is called Market Strategically. And so that scene is represented by this slide. So that scene will actually play while this is being narrated. So we only chose one image. We only chose two words that we were going to represent. So another slide starts with "blindly following." We've got in there mobile marketing and Google Maps. So how did we decide to depict this in our video software? Now you'll notice that we chose a mobile device. We chose Google Maps and something to represent that. And basically this scene starts out with the mobile device in the middle. It's then going to slide over and then go to the next slide, which is going to have all of the words. One of the things that you're probably seeing is that there is a lot of flexibility in terms of how you can represent each scene. But the key understanding is to design one scene at a time. So you'll see here, whether a company is doing internet marketing or television commercials, there's a certain structure that all successful marketing promotion fits into. So how did we depict that scene or slide? And you'll notice that we designed a scene with an image. We designed it by putting words on top of there. And so these things come on in rapid succession. Now, it will be instructive for you to just see how this scene was designed to play out inside the video software. As was said, every animation creation software is going to be a little different, but you want to see how this particular scene was designed with that slide. So we're just going to play this scribe.
What's needed for you to understand is the basic framework for marketing. Whether a company is doing internet marketing or television commercials, there is a certain structure that all successful marketing and
So once again, you can see that there is a lot of flexibility in terms of how you can design each particular scene. But what's most important is that you have a frame of reference and that you're only designing one scene at a time. You should have already gathered your assets, so you should have already thought through your keywords. You already have the images that you're going to look to present. And so now all that you'll need to do is to go to your video software with the images and place them inside so that you can begin to work with the timing. You're now looking at audioblocks.com, and audioblocks.com is one source on the internet that you can find for royalty-free music for you to be able to use in your videos. Another source is Digital Juice, and both of these are paid services. Now, along with the video creation software that you probably have, you're also going to have royalty-free music available. Now, in the case of some of the software, you're not going to be able to input both a voiceover and audio into the same video. You'll have to mix the audio and the voiceover together and then add it to your software. And that is the case with the software you're looking at, which is Sparkle VideoScribe. So that means then you're going to want to use your audio editing software. In this case, we're going to use Camtasia. But before we do that, there is one thing that you're going to want to take note of. If we go to the library of Camtasia, you're going to notice here that they've got royalty-free music for you to be able to use. So you can actually open up some of this music and you can actually preview what it's going to sound like. And if it's something that you feel as if would be appropriate for your video, you can actually use some of the music that they have inside of their library. The most important thing is going to be that you actually find royalty-free music that you have the rights to use commercially. So we're going to come back here to our audio voiceover, and this is the project that we had available in Camtasia. What we're going to do is we're going to find some royalty-free music that we have on our hard drive and bring it into the editing screen here in our audio. You may have a source of royalty-free music. You don't have to use a service. Regardless, you want to find the file, drag this over into your clip bin. I'm going to close that out. Then what we're going to do is we're going to add this to the timeline. You're going to notice here that the music is going to be longer than our clip, which is actually fine. Now, one of the things you'll notice is that when we look at this timeline, that this particular music clip has an introduction, and the volume is going to be kind of low up until that point. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to cut out that part. We're going to do a little bit of editing here, and we're going to actually take out the low volume point. And we're going to cut that out. Then we're going to bring this back to our timeline at the beginning. And what we're going to do is we're going to pull this out at the end. We're going to let the music play a little longer after the video. And we're going to actually take out the rest. So one of the things that we can actually do in our audio is we can actually take one frame here. We're not working on the audio on track 1. You'll see it's grayed out here. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to fade in this audio, and then we're going to fade it out at the end. We're also going to lower the volume so that it's well below the voiceover. Now what we want to do is we want to listen to this in real time to make sure it is what we want. Whether a company is operating in good or difficult economic times, Okay, so we may want to lower the audio a little more so that it doesn't overpower our voiceover. So we'll lower it some more, and then what we're going to do is we're going to produce a new audio. So all we do inside of Camtasia is we will go into this produce and share file, and we will then produce and share another MP3. And then we're going to produce this again. We're going to call this with music. Okay, so we have our file. We're now going to just click finish, and then the audio is then going to produce. Okay, so Windows will play this audio right away. There must be an overall goal as well as a core methodology. All right, so we're going to close that out. We're actually going to find the audio in our folder, and here it is. Actually, video 3 audio with music, and that's where our MP3 file now is. We're going to close this out. And we're now going to go ahead and close out our editing. And we have now completed the construction of our audio with music. Now in this video, we're going to be talking about understanding the timeline inside of your individual video animation software. You're going to notice that we have a slide up here that we've talked about before that we are depicting with a visual as well as some words. Now, one of the things we're going to need to do is we're going to need to add audio to our software. And in this particular case, you're going to notice that there's a file already there that's called introduction. And actually, this is a file that has been mixed together. So we mixed together the music, we mixed together the voiceover, and we have uploaded this as one file to our animation software. So now we have a 1 minute and 8 second audio that we're going to fit all of our scenes into. What you're going to want to understand are the particulars of the transition between elements. So I'm going to open up this particular screen inside of Sparkle. Now again, this is going to be different inside of every video creation software. The thing to pay attention to is going to be the transition and how long each element is going to appear, whether or not there's going to be a pause, and then the transition that it makes to the next scene. Now, when you do this, these are going to be the things that you're going to want to pay attention to. You want to pay attention to how long it takes to draw or how long it takes for the action to happen. And then you want to play with the timing so that the pictures that are appearing in the screen are coinciding with the audio as it plays. right? So what you're trying to do is you're trying to basically match up these two elements with the words inside of the audio. And then you want the whole thing to transition to the next scene. Remember, we're designing by scene so that when we pause between the slides, when we were doing the voiceover, we want there to be a little pause and then for the next scene to come up. And so when we design these slides, we're doing the timing. In every case, I'm going to open up this timing, and we're going to work with these elements inside of our video creation software so that they coincide with each scene that we design. We're then going to transition to the next scene. And so that is the process that you're going to want to work through every time you get to a scene. You're going to work with the elements, and you're going to want to make sure that they're playing with your audio. Now, in the case of Sparkle VideoScribe and just about any other video software, you can take each individual scene and you can actually play the audio. So, for example, we can play the audio to preview it just from what's happening here.
What's needed for you to understand is the basic framework for marketing. Whether a company is doing internet.
So as you can see here, what we're trying to do is we're trying to either slow down or speed up the drawing of the image to coincide with what's happening in the audio. That's what's important. And then we transition to the next scene.
Marketing.
And what we're going to do is we're going to keep working through each scene. We're going to look at the timing. And we're going to match up the timing with the audio. And the way you do that inside of each video creation software is you play it and preview it at the point at which the audio is. Right? So every time that you get to a new scene, you're going to have to do this process all over. Now, this is going to be the most time-consuming process. In fact, anytime you add audio to a timeline, matching the audio with the images that you've already placed on your timeline, that's going to be the most time-consuming part of the actual process. When we get to the last screen, you'll notice that there's a pause that we've placed here inside of Sparkle VideoScribe of about 5 seconds. And that is so that the call to action will remain on the screen. Once again, this is going to be something that you're going to want to do individually inside of your video creation software, but that is to leave that pause at the end so that the viewer or the customer or the prospect can actually see your call to action. And in some cases, you can allow the music to play while this is actually going to be on the screen, and then you can then end the video. Understand again, the reason why this process works is because we've already matched the images and the writing to a particular scene. All we're really doing now on the timeline is we are working out timing. And so in every case, what we're going to do is we're going to play with the elements to actually match up what they're hearing with what they're seeing. But we've already done the hard work by selecting the images and matching them with a particular scene. But once you've done all your matching, you are going to want to save and save often. VideoScribe software, any kind of animated video software takes a lot of resources. And so at every point, at every scene, every major event that you actually do, you need to almost hyper save. In other words, you should save after every little thing, because the likelihood of you losing something or the software getting jammed or the software stopping with video creation software. So again, after everything that you do, make sure that you're saving your file. And then once you get to the end, what you're going to do is you're going to play the video clip to make sure it is what you actually want it to be. In this video, we're going to be talking about some final processing options. And you're going to notice here inside of Sparkle VideoScribe, they have many of the same options that most of the video creators have, and that is to save your presentation to your hard drive as well as to upload them to some video sharing sites. You'll see YouTube, Facebook, and in this case, PowerPoint. You can also share it online through their website. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to click the Save button. And when you do this, you are going to want to pay attention to a couple of things. Number one, you're going to want to be aware of the file. And in this case, Sparkle gives you the opportunity to do AVI, PNG, JPEG, WMV, or MOV. We also give you the opportunity to determine the size. Now, obviously, if possible, you want to go ahead and render in 1080, which is going to be full HD. The default setting is typically going to be around 30 frames per second. Now, what's going to be important about this is that in some cases, some of the software is going to produce an MP4, some is going to produce in MOV. You do need to change the file to MP4. So what we're going to do in this case is we're going to go ahead and we're going to produce this video, and then we're going to make changes to it so that it becomes an MP4. So let's go ahead and click the checkbox, and then we'll start the production process. So the production process is now started. We're actually going to come back when the production process is complete, and then we're going to work with the file, which is MOV. Okay, so now that we have the file onto our hard drive, what we would do is we change this to MP4. And we could also use the rename command. Now this video is usable in just about any other setting. And typically when you will have one of those video creators to download in this format, it's changeable to MP4 just by renaming it. And so now that you've done that, you are now ready to bundle and deliver your animated video. Now, we started this course assuming that you already had content that you turned into a script. That is not always going to be the case, and we want to cover how you would very easily be able to take content, specifically PLR or resale rights content, into your animated video. So let's take a look at if you actually had a PDF that you purchased as content. And we're going to start this process in Microsoft Word to open the PDF. So what you would do is you would go to the File command, and then you would then go to open the specific PDF file. You're now going to get a message from Microsoft Word saying that it's now going to convert your PDF into an editable Word document. Now, one of the things you're going to have to be willing to accept here is that the formatting is not going to be the exact same as the PDF, and we're not really looking for it to be, because we really just want the text and we really just want the content. Because again, we purchase this content, maybe it's PLR or resale rights, and we're going to be using it in order to turn it into an animated video. So what we're going to do now is just click OK. And you'll notice down here at the bottom that Microsoft Word is converting. And so in this case, we now have our PDF document that is now a Microsoft Word document. So now, assuming that this is the format that you're going to start working with, we are now going to go through a process where we're going to get our Microsoft Word document ready in order to create an actual script. And typically, in order to start with an easy concept, what we try to do is to go to the beginning of each paragraph and take out the explanatory content. So we keep the first sentence and we take out the rest. So in this particular case, you're looking at a title, we're looking at a subtitle, which we would keep. We would then take out this explanatory content. We would keep the subtitle. Once again, we take out the explanatory content and keep the first sentence. We do the same thing in each paragraph, and we would continue on throughout this document. So what we've done is we've gone through the entire section. We've basically taken the first sentence and kept the subtitles for a section of this document. And all we're going to do now is we're going to take this entire piece and we're going to cut it. We're going to actually go to a new document in Microsoft Word. Now that we have the content, what we're going to do is we're going to paste this document, and we're not going to keep the formatting. So what we're going to do is we're just going to keep the text. So now we have basically all of the sentences, and what we want to do is we want to pull these sentences into the same area and onto the same page. So we now have the content on one page in order to create our video. And we could have started with a Microsoft Word document that we had, but we chose to start with a PDF, and we changed that PDF into a Word document. Now we have something that is workable to go to the next step. So in the next video, what we're going to do is we're going to take this Microsoft Word document and go through a brief process, and we're going to turn it into an actual script. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video.